Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Santu. Fine. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. So this is Nisar. So I'll be taking a session in beginner level JavaScript introductory concepts. Fine. So there are a lot of guys. I hope some of you are already aware of this, like what is JavaScript and beginning concepts of JavaScript. And some of you may be new to this, and some of you already have done some problem solving skills. So I will just see that I'm going to start from the basic, like if person is starting from a beginning level, how I will be starting that way. Just I'll cover today's session. So today my session will proceed like this. So at the beginning, I will be just giving an introduction to data types, like what are the basic data types that we have in JavaScript that I will cover. Then fine. So then I will be going to the concept of like how to declare the variables and constants, how we can handle that in the program. That is how that we'll be seeing. Our session will proceed like that. Fine. Good. So to begin with, like let me share my screen. Yeah, I hope everyone can see that one. Good. So when we talk about JavaScript, like when JavaScript was introduced, it was being used as a client-side programming language, isn't it? Now, as the time evolved, now JavaScript has gained the capabilities of a full-fledged programming language. Now we can do everything using JavaScript. Okay. Now, to begin with, when we talk about a program, any program that you write, so why do we write a program actually? So what is the purpose of writing a program? Any program that you write has some input, isn't it? Then some process, then output. So any program that you write, any programming language, if you take, you have some input, then process, then output. So whatever program or instruction that we are writing in a program are concentrated around the data, isn't it? So data is the center point in any program, any programming language you take. Okay, fine. So how data is handled in every programming language is by using data types. Fine. So what do you mean by a data type actually? So a data type indicates the value that can be held in the memory, isn't it? So what sort of value we are going to handle in a program, and the set of operations, what are the allowable operations on that data is indicated with the data type. Now in JavaScript also straightforward, I'll be going to this data types in JavaScript. Fine. So they are classified into two categories, like when we see this one, primitive, and other one is non-primitive. Okay, fine. So when we talk about primitive data types,
Nisar, just to interrupt you, people can't see what you are writing.
okay, I have shared. Sorry.
You're using whiteboard, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So can you stop the share and share the whiteboard again?
Okay, fine. Is it okay now?
Yeah, now it's visible.
Yeah,
So you can use the text here.
yeah, yeah. Fine. Now here in this one, like basically whenever we are having this one, primitive data types, double click does not work in this.
So it will not be moved. Whatever is typed is typed. You have to
Okay,
just
okay,
type it
okay,
here.
fine. Okay.
You can also use Repel it for this typing, I think.
Yeah, yeah, fine. Fine. Okay. I'll better use Repel, so I'm more comfortable with that. Yeah, let me just share my screen. Yeah, I hope everyone can see that one. Fine. Can you see my screen? Everyone? Hello?
Yeah, we can
Yes,
see
yes,
you.
yes,
We can
yes.
see.
Yeah, yeah. Fine. Good. Good. So data types in JavaScript. Okay, that is what we are covering now. So when we talk about primitive data types, okay. So when we have the primitive type, the first thing that we are going to have is number. So what do you mean by number here? Whenever we want to handle any numeric values, that can be integer, decimal, or floating point data. For that, we are having the data type called as number. Okay, you can see that n is small here. That is first data type to handle the numbers. Second one is strings. String small. Third one is null. Fourth one is undefined. Yeah, fifth one is the boolean. So these are the basic data types or primitive data types we are having in JavaScript. Fine. Now, when we talk about non-primitive, there's only one thing, that is object. Fine. There is one type, object type. Now, basically, when we talk about object and frankly speaking, in JavaScript, everything is an object actually, primitive or non-primitive or also objects. So in this, we can just broadly have, we'll be discussing about arrays, and next one is functions. Okay, so these are the things that we are going to discuss in today's session. Good. So what do you mean by number? Actually, when we talk about number data type allows us to store. Okay, just let me give an example of that one. When we are declaring number, so how we are going to declare a variable is using the keyword let. Okay, let me declare that. So hoping that some of you are already having the idea. So I'll come back to the let concept and where later on. Right now, let me use this one. So let, suppose I want to store a value. Okay, first of all, you're going to declare a variable using the keyword. The keyword let specifies that you're going to declare a variable. Let, okay, salary is there. Salary is a variable. To that, I'm assigning the value. Okay, so that you're assigning the value 10,000. Now, see here, console.log salary. Now, that value will be displayed here. You can see here on the screen. Now, just console.log, check here, type of salary. When we are giving type of salary and we are running this one, so you are getting that. So it is what? Number. So that is the basic type that we are going to use to handle number. So we are using that. Good. So JavaScript is dynamic programming. Now we can, what is a variable actually? Once we are assigning a value, the value of a variable can be changed. During the course of the program, you can change it. Now up to here, it is salary is 10,000. Now later on, I want to change it or add some value. So you're giving salary is equals to 30,000. So what will happen to that one? The value is changed. Okay, here at the line number 24, it was 10,000, the value of salary. Now from here onwards, the value of the salary variable will be 30,000. So that is how we can change the value of a variable. So in this case, based on the value that we are assigning, now when we are giving type of, the type of is an operator that is used to check. So the type of value that you are going to have in the variable. Okay, sorry, the type of the identifier. So here salary is an identifier. When we are giving it as type of salary, so you'll be getting it as what? Number. Good. So you can see that it is number. Everything is struck here. Can go to my screen now. Hello.
Yeah, Nisar.
Yeah, I'm audible. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, you are audible.
Fine. Yeah, you can see here. Fine. That we are getting it as type as number, and the salary from here onwards is how much? 30,000. So that is how you can declare a variable and later on change the value of that one. Now suppose suppose name is, I'm declaring the name of the variable as name, then is equals to suppose computer. Then you can check it, console.log type of name. So what you're getting here, it is what? String, isn't it? So you can give it in the double quotes also. Sorry, so within the double quotes, whatever we are giving, it is a string. So that is a string type, you can see here. Okay, in the same way we are having, so what is a string? Is collection or group of characters. So that is how you can just declare a string. Fine. Now if we are having decimal numbers, like suppose if I say percentage of marks, or let's say radius. So you are declaring the variable radius here. Radius is equals to suppose 4.5. So it is having the integer part as well as the fractional part, decimal part. So such type will automatically be determined as what you can see here, type of radius. So you're getting it as what? Number. Is that okay, everyone? Fine. Now type of radius based on the value we have given. So it has been categorized, it will take automatically. That is what we are calling the dynamic programming. Now I have assigned the value of 4.5 to the radius. Now suppose later on if I change the value as again, if I give it as computer, isn't it? Here you will be getting it as string. Can you see that, everyone? Now it was number here, and now here it is string. So based on the value that we have assigned, it will automatically adjust to the type of value that is being assigned. It can be number or string. So that is how or why we are calling JavaScript as a dynamic programming language. Fine. Now coming to like Boolean type. Boolean type can be either true or false. Fine. Now sometimes we do not have any value that we can indicate it using null. Like take course is equals to null. Okay, so null indicates that it is non-presence of a value. It's not zero, but still it's non-presence of a value is indicated with null. And there is something called as undefined. If we have just declared a variable and if we do not give anything, it will be of type undefined. Fine. So these are the basic types. You can check here. Type of course output. You can see here it is undefined type. So null is still a something value, but undefined is something different. You can see here null is being indicated as an object. Fine. So I'll come to that. Is it clear, everyone? Fine. So why do we need variables in a program? When do we need variables? See here in our program, whenever we are required to handle any data, so we are going to declare the variables and store the values in that. So during the course of program, if we need to manipulate the value, so we are declaring a variable and we are storing a value. So what do you mean by a variable actually? So a variable is an identifier that is used to refer to a value in the memory. So whatever value you have in the memory, that value can be referred or accessed using the variable. Now suppose if I have a value, if I give a constant like this, fine. If I give a constant like this, what will happen? Just it can be used there itself. Good. Now if I want to the value constant 10 is stored in the memory, it can be used only at this place. Now later on, if you want to refer to that value, okay, again you have to give it. Okay, so for that reason, what we are doing, we need to create the variables, whatever variable it is, let, and we are going to specify the name of the variable. So variable name should be unique. It's an identifier name. The same rules that go, it should not have space, should not be constant. The same rules will apply here. Or like one simple example, like it can be, yeah, max is equals to 10 I'm giving. So in this case, whenever we are declared a max as a variable, okay, later on in the during the course of the program, anywhere we give max, it will be replaced with the value of 10. So that is how you are going to use the data types and declare the variables. Fine, using the keyword let. Good. Now, how many values a variable can handle at a time? Is a single value. Now coming to these types, so there's a difference between null and undefined. So I'll come to it later on. Like Boolean, yeah, we missed Boolean. So Boolean can be is joining is equals to true. Okay, so you can see here is joining true. That is a variable. It's having the value as what? True. So that is also of type Boolean. Fine. This is about primitive types. Now, when we talk about primitive types, what are the operations that are allowed on them? How much memory they take and how they can be used is pre-specified. Now, if you take number, how much memory it takes? Can anyone tell me? What is the memory of int? How much memory does number take? Like those who are having the idea of C programming language, like it is strictly checking how much memory it will take. Yes, can anyone tell me how much memory does number take in JavaScript? Number takes how many bytes of memory? It is 8 bytes of memory. Okay, 8 bytes of memory. Now, if we have a string is a separate discussion, I'll come to it. Suppose if what is string here? String is collection or group of characters. We have a group of character that is a string. Now, in this case, you can see I have given let's declare a string. Let student name is equals to Rakesh is a string, isn't it? Just to single records. So in this case, it is how much memory it will take. The variable student name is a string now. So for each character, it will take 2 bytes. So based on the number of characters we are having, its memory will be determined. So this will be useful when we are going to calculate the space complexity. How much space that does it take? You can see here, isn't it? Rakesh is having 6 characters, 6 multiplied by 2, it will be 12 bytes of memory for this one. Good. And for numbers or decimal numbers, you are having number type will take 8 bytes. Boolean will generally is used to will take 1 byte of memory to represent. Fine. So that is basic data types. What are the things that are related to primitive types? Number, string, null, undefined, and Boolean. Is that okay? Good. Now, whenever when we talk about object types in JavaScript, that is, as I said you at the beginning, everything in JavaScript is object only. Fine. I'll tell you at the end of the session how and why it is. I'll just take a simple example. Fine. Let me just have a quick example of how we can use JavaScript and do that one. Yeah, how and what variables are required, no, that we are going to have based on our requirement. Like suppose if we are writing a simple program to calculate, yeah, the simple program to calculate the addition or sum of two numbers. Okay, I'll take that one. So you are going to declare the variables, or let us say you are going to calculate the area and circumference of a circle, simple program. So what are the variables required? So how you are going to declare is based on your requirement. So like you're going to declare the variable, like first of all, okay, you need a variable radius. Okay, so you're going to assign the radius, then let, you're going to have a variable area, then let, then circumference. So how the variables are required? In the same way, you can just declare the variables. Now you need to perform the calculation. So how you are going to perform the calculation is this one. Okay, so if you want to declare any constants, you can have const pi is equals to, what is constant? Just I'll explain within a few seconds. Wait a few minutes. Area is equals to pi. So those who don't know what is operators, so we are using the symbol asterisk to multiply. So radius into radius. Good. So that is how you are going to calculate. The same way circumference, then you can just display that one, console.log. So this example I have taken up so that you have an idea how the variables are declared as and when they are required. Console.log area is, then we can concatenate and give the name of the variable. So here you can see here the area of a area variable is used to store that, and you're calculating and you're displaying that. Good. Fine. I hope it's clear for you. This is a simple example program that I have taken up to explain how we can just give the input. Good. Now, before going to the objects, like I would just like to discuss one simple example of a function. So how do we declare a function in JavaScript is by using the keyword function, isn't it? Then name of the function, whatever name you want to give the function, then parameter. Those who are already aware of C programming language or any other programming language. So here in JavaScript, we use the keyword function, and followed by that you have the arguments. You're going to specify whatever arguments you want. Then you're going to code it here within the opening and closing braces. That is called as a block. Good. So that is how you are going to create a function. So just I'll come to this topic later on. Now that is how we have seen, like primitive data types are numbered, string, null, undefined, and boolean. Now let's come to non-primitive. So in non-primitive, we are having arrays and functions. So what do you mean by an array? So when do we use an array? So in JavaScript or any programming language, if you want to store a single value, you need a single variable. A variable at a time can represent only one value, single value. Like if I have declared a variable n, it is storing single value. Now if I want to assign another value, I need to declare another variable, isn't it? Like m is assigned 30. Now certain group of values, I want to categorize it as a single set of entity. For that we are using an array. So an array is collection of common elements, or any set of elements, not common here. You can give any data types. Collection of elements that are referred with a common name. So how do we declare an array here? So basically, like I'm giving here name of the array. Let colors is equals to, then within the square bracket you are going to give this is nothing but an array, red, blue, green. Fine. So this is how you are going to declare an array. So in the array the first value, like it is represented within the square brackets. Now let's check first of all. Yeah, you can see here array is also of type what? Object. It is purely object. So why we are calling it as a object, I'll just explain. Now we can add the elements to an array. So that is how we have added that. Three values are there in the array. Now we have a loop for in, you can see that one, for let I in loop array name. What is the array name here? Colors. Fine. So we use this loop to iterate through the elements from first element to the last element. And arrays are represented with the zero based index, like the index first element red is there, it is represented with the index 0, second element with 1, next 2, like that. So how many you have? Now we can say that you can get the length of the array. Console.log, there is a property called as length. Colors dot length will give you the length of the array. How many elements are there here? 3 elements are there. Now at the beginning of this one. So an array is collection of elements. Now you can have any type, not same data type, any type you can have, because it's an object. No, suppose in this, suppose I'm giving 101. So you are having here 4 elements are there. You can see its number can also be added. Fine. Now if you want to process each element in an array, we can go through it. So how? By using console.log, name of the array is colors. Then within the square bracket you are going to specify the index. So this loop lets us process that index will start from 0 and will go up to the last element. Now you can see here, first we got red, then blue, then green, then 101. Good. Fine. So that is what yeah, array has also got a elaborate like a discussion. We can just have a session for that. For now my discussion is limited to how array is a object type. Okay, now generally, like those who are familiar with traditional like C programming language or C++, its array is index based, you're going to refer. But here we are using it like an object. Can you see a colors dot length? This is the colors is the name of the array. Length is the property that lets you to know the number of elements in the array. So in the JavaScript, it is an object. Okay, fine. And it supports various functions. Like if you want to add another element, colors, can you see here? Now I want to add, there are 3 colors are there. Let us remove this one. There are 3 colors and I want to add another one. So you're going to use the function push and add another element to that one. So whatever it is. Fine. So we are using the function push to add an element to the array. You can see that one. Fine. Now cyan was not there here. We have pushed that one. So like that, there are various functions available in the arrays. Using that, you can perform the operations. Now there is a function called as pop. If you want to remove the element, okay, you can see a console.log, then colors. Yeah, you can see a red, blue, and green. Is it okay? Which element has been popped here? Pop function has just deleted that cyan. Can you see that? Yeah, cyan was there at the end. Is that okay? Yeah. So cyan was there. So it was not there here, but we have added it. We have pushed it. So the most pop function will remove the element from the last. Now, like arrays allow us to perform various operations. Like we can find the particular element is there or not. You can delete an element, you can add an element, you can modify the elements. So this is basically an object type which provides us with what is various functions. Good. Fine. So we can just elaborate on that one. I hope it is clear for you. So an array is collection of elements that are referred with the common name. Okay. And you have various functions that can be used to perform the operations on the arrays. Now coming to our next concept is functions. Just now I've said you that how we are going to create functions here. Now function is there. Function keyword is used to create a function. Now suppose I have a function display. Yes, console.log. Yeah, welcome. You're going to call the function like this. This is traditional way I'm telling s, isn't it? Is it clear, all of you? Now just let me comment this. Console.log welcome plus s. Now let's run this one. Did anything happen? No. So why? I did not call the functions of, you have coded the function. What is the function actually? A function is a block or set of statements that perform specific tasks whenever it is executed. A group of valid JavaScript statements that are enclosed within this one, and it has some name assigned to that one, isn't it? Yeah, in is a sub program or a method that is executed. Whenever it is executed, it will perform the task. Now suppose I'm calling that function display. Yeah, you're going to have one parameter. There's one argument or parameter. You need to specify that one. Yeah, suppose I'm giving Raj. Good. So that is how you can execute a function by giving the function name and a parameter. Yeah, it's fine. So it has displayed welcome, then Raj. So whatever value we have passed to the function, that will be displayed. This is one way. Now a function can also be created like this here in JavaScript, like just like a variable. Just now we have seen that one. Suppose I'm giving display is equals to function. Yeah, then you are going to have the whatever it is parameter. Good. The same way. Yeah, I'm just, let me differentiate what is the difference between that and this. Console.log, then same code welcome plus s, isn't it? So when you're going to call this one, no, just it looks like a variable. Now those who are looking at this will think that is the variable, isn't it? Let display is equals to, it's a function. Those who are coming from traditional C programming language, it looks a bit different how a variable can be assigned function, but in JavaScript we are declaring like this. So let's see the type of, okay, let's comment this. Yeah, let's call it here. Yeah, before this let's check here. Console.log type of what is that display? Yeah, type of display, it is indicating it's a function, isn't it? It's a function. Is it clear? Now we are calling this one and it has executed. Is it okay? Fine. Now how we are going to use functions and all this, that we'll be discussing some other day, but basically these are the data types that we are having. Now when we talk about the objects in JavaScript, okay, I'll come to that object also. Now was non-primitive in that object. Yeah, this is important one, and that we need to discuss here in detail. Yeah, so an object generally is collection of properties. When we talk about object in JavaScript, is collection of properties. So how do we create an object here? Basically, when we say collection of properties, so I'm creating let student is equals to within the curly brackets. So you have collection of properties here. I'll be giving ID number. Each property has key and value with that one. Fine, key and value. You can see that one. So key is an unique key that you are going to give, and value you are going to have ID number, can be anything, valid data type, then comma, then second property you're going to have. Like I'm going to indicate student name, Raj, and then course. Fine. So this is how you have just created an object. So how you are going to refer to the members of an object means by using the object name student dot id and o. So each member can be referred using the dot notation. You can see, yeah, you're getting that value. You can assign it and you can change it also. If at all you have assigned the value at the beginning, you can change it later on if you want. You can do that. Is equals to 1009. So this is one way, simple, easiest way of referring to the object. And you can see our value has changed. Fine. Now the objects can also have the functions or methods. Like suppose I'm using an object display, sorry, function display info. Then you're going to indicate it using the keyword function. No need of any parameters. Then yeah, console.log. You can display id. Yeah, can give the name of the key here. Yeah, comma is missing here. Good. So we are going to call it, how we are going to call it, student dot function display info. Good. There's an error, id and no, sorry, student dot id and no. Yeah, student dot id and no. So this is the object that we have created. This is one way. The simplest way is directly we can create an object is let, then identify name for the object, then within the curly brackets you are going to give, yeah, that is collection of properties. So in JavaScript, yeah, you can create an object from object, like I can give here s is equals to, yeah, fine, let s is equals to object dot create, then student. Fine. Now in this case, s is an object based on the object student. So we are going to use the keyword object dot create function and create the object. Now just see here, s dot, I'm just giving the id number, changing id number. id number is equals to 9001. Then s dot display info. Now it is changed. Okay. Yeah, it did not change. Fine. It's referring to that only. Good. So I'll come to that later. So yeah, this is how you can just declare the variables or objects based on the objects. Good. Is that okay? Now we are getting the ID number 9001 with this object S, and with the student directly we have called. So this is another way you can just create an object by using the keyword let is used to create, then object dot create, then within that you are giving the student. Now apart from this we have to yeah, fine, is it clear? So why we are calling actually these things as objects? I'll just share here one thing. Yeah, give me 1 second. So there are predefined objects available in JavaScript. Yeah. like you have number, the string, this date object. You can see here, this is D is capital, S is capital, in number N is capital. These are the predefined objects that are available. Like number object allows us to perform the operations on numbers, and it provides us with number of functions to manipulate number. String allows us to create string objects. Okay, and date allows us to manipulate the date and time values. Good. Like that, we are having function object predefined. I'll discuss this also. Function object is there. Okay. Then there is boolean. Yeah, there is some regular expression exp. So these are the predefined objects that are available with the JavaScript. So you have to differentiate with this one. So these are starting with capitals that are your objects, predefined objects. One simple example I'll take up from this one using these things. Yeah, we have here, you can see here. So just you can see a data of join I have declared is equals to new date. So new is the keyword that is used to create an object as well. So using the classes are predefined, the classes are there. So that will come up in next sessions to come. Like for now, you can see date is a predefined object that is giving the current system and date and time. And it is basically an object. Can you see a type of data of Jan? I have declared a variable of this type. And how why we are calling a function as a data type? That also I'll just indicate with one simple example. You can see here we are creating a function here. Let add two numbers is equals to new function of, these are the parameters that are going to this one. First parameter, then return a plus b. So when you're calling this one, it is performing the addition of two numbers. You can see the result that we got here is 30. Okay, so how, let add two numbers equal to new function. F is capital here, don't get confused with that again. When you have small function, you are just creating your own functions, user defined. When we say you are going to use small f, and when you are using capital F, it is the predefined object that you are using. Good. So in the same way, you have the operations can be performed on this one. So this predefined objects provides us with a lot of what you call functions. Using this we can perform. So that's why we are calling everything in JavaScript is actually numbers, sorry, objects, not numbers. Everything in JavaScript is objects. So why, suppose if you are giving 10, so internally it will be represented using numbers in the sense as an object. And when we want to use it as a variable, automatically JavaScript will manipulate it like a variable in the simple way. It is done automatically by the JavaScript interpreter. We don't have to worry about that one. Yeah, fine. So that is what we have seen in this session about data types, the basic data types. Fine. So the number is to represent the number, small n, string to handle collection of group of characters. The string, whenever you want to handle any string like names of person, places, you are going to declare the variable and assign a value of that type enclosed within the double quote, that is a string. Null, when you do not indicate, yeah, I'll come to that one. There's a difference between null and undefined. When you are just declaring a variable, when you just declare a variable like this, let n, sorry, let n, then you're going to have a value of undefined. Okay, we did not assign anything. Yeah, boolean is used to specify true or false values. Then we are having objects. Okay, so everything in JavaScript is object. So in that specifically non-primitive type, actually there is only one thing, object, but how arrays and functions are represented as object that we have seen. Just one or two examples I have taken up for array. Yeah, we can just elaborate. We can do a lot of operations can be performed on that arrays. Good.
So Nisar, just a time check. I think we
Yeah,
are
yeah,
ending the
yeah. 5 minutes.
limit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Fine. So, thank you for that. So, like this is all about your functions. Now, I would like to discuss the concept of variables also. Yeah, let me move this to some other file. Yeah, let it be there. Fine. Now, when we talk about variables, no, like I directly have used let. So, how do we declare a variable? Why do we need a variable? So, a variable is an identifier used to refer to a value in the memory. Good. So, a variable must be declared before it is used in a program, and a variable name must be unique. So, in JavaScript, we are going to use the keyword, isn't it? What is the keyword we are going to use? Either you can use var or let or const. These are the three ways in which we can declare a variable. Now, if you are using the keyword var, okay, it is the traditional way earlier programming. So at the beginning, when the JavaScript was started, you use the keyword var and we used to declare a variable. Now, whatever value we want to handle, like suppose I want to handle the salary, employee salary. So I can give the variable name as salary. It should be a valid identifier name. You should not have the space here. Now, suppose var I'm giving student name. Okay, it should be a valid name. You can var and suppose you're giving m comma n. You can separate multiple variables by comma. So var keyword is used to declare a variable. Now later on you can manipulate it. So what is then there is another way of declaring a variable is by using let. Okay. So let also allows us to create the variables. There is a difference between let and var. So suppose if I have declared a variable salary here, let us see here. Here, yeah, let me declare the variables. Let here. Let then name of the variable percentage can give here is equals to 90.89. Good. You have given the value. Okay, 9,000. Then suppose just print the value console.log salary. What is the value you are getting here is 9,000. Good. Now from suppose salary is equals to, suppose if I am giving like this again 10 comma 20 comma 30. Okay. You can see here it is not giving any error. Once we have declared the salary here, again we are redeclaring it. So redeclaring is allowed with the var, a variable of type var. Redeclaration is allowed, and the modification of the value is also allowed. We can change the value. Salary you have assigned 9,000 here, I can change it. Salary is equal. So what is happening here? The value will change. Suppose if I give 30 and if you print, I have assigned 9,000 here. Later on, I have changed it to 30. Console.log salary, you're getting it as 30. So it is changed. So value changing or modification is allowed with var, and redeclaration is allowed. Now tell me, there is a contradiction. So here salary is 30 and here salary is an array. So that way we are having a contradiction with var. So for that reason, it is better to use let. Okay, let percentage is equal to 90.89. So with the a variable declared as of type let can be only modified. Redeclaration will give you an error. Suppose if you give console.log percentage, fine. And if you redeclare, if you try to redeclare that variable, percentage is equals to whatever it is you want giving here. Okay, you'll get an error. You can see here. Identifier percentage has already been declared. So you cannot have the variable identifier name with the same name once it is declared. That is the main first thing. There is only modification, changing of the value can be done, but we cannot redeclare that one. And there's another thing also, a variable declared of type let, its scope is local. So what do you mean by local? Suppose if I have declared where it can be used anywhere. Okay, I'll indicate it with the block. Just suppose let us assume this is the block. Let n is equals to 10, I can use it console.log, and within this block, suppose what we know that a variable must be declared before it is used. Suppose if you try to access outside this block, you will get an error. Yeah, fine, undefined it is. So that value we are unable to access. Top, yeah, it is there here. This value we are getting. Sorry. Yeah, we are getting an error for that one. Can you see that one? N is not defined. So you will ask that, sir, we have defined here, and still it is saying not defined. Means why? Because it is scope is related to confined to a block or function in which it is declared. Whereas for a var, you can access it anywhere, in any block. Suppose var I have declared at the top, I can access it here, console.log, and what is the name we have given? Salary. That will just print the salary. You can see it is printed, that one array. Fine, that is the main difference between let. So the value, the scope of let is confined to the block in which it is declared. The scope of a var is throughout the program. It can be accessed throughout the program in any function, in any block. That is how you can use that one. And 1 minute is remaining, so I'll just say const. A variable of type const can be assigned only value at the beginning. We cannot modify it. We can only access it. We cannot change also. Just like a constant. The constants once assigned cannot change during the course of program. So its value will only be there at the time of declaration. So constant variable const max is equals to 10. Compulsory const must have the value assigned whenever we are declaring that. So that is how we are going to declare the variables using var, let, and const. Fine. Yeah. 59. Yeah. Any queries? Any questions? Everyone is muted, I think. Fine. It, so these are just basics of how to start a variable. So any new like programmer or who is beginning must know this one. It's like to handle any values in a program, we need to declare the variables, then use that during the course of the program. And actually whatever program we are writing, whatever programs in any programming language will revolve around data, so what type of data we are handling, how to manipulate that data. So for that we are using, these are the data types, like earlier I've said you that data types and the operations that we are going to perform. So around that it will revolve. Good. So using these are the things that will aid us. Like when we talk about functions, are used to perform the operation, used to carry out the task. So when you are having a group of values, set of values to be organized, for that we are using arrays and handling that one. Okay. Fine. Yeah, some of the queries. Fine, good. In the const and let's say no. So Purva has asked